Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another deck profile. Earlier this week, you guys saw the Demigra versus Mono Blue SS3 gameplay, and you guys know I'm a huge fan of Demigra. I think it's a crazy good aggro deck in the rogue position. Not quite as good as Gohan and Boo, but still very, very powerful and a deck that I really enjoy. Kind of takes me back and reminds me of Storm because it spams the board in such a similar way, and it's really, really fun. So I'm going to go over the deck profile today. If you guys are new here, make sure to subscribe, hit that bell so never miss a video. If you guys want to help the channel out, lots of free ways to do that. You can like the video, maybe watch an ad, maybe share this video with a friend who is interested in playing an aggro deck. And if you guys want to buy any of the cards you see in today's video, make sure to use my links in the description below to either TCG Player or Beer Collectibles. All that stuff really does help out quite a bit. Guys, that being said, we're getting into the deck profile. So starting off, we have the leader, Demigra. He is a set 4 leader, so he's pretty old, but he's gotten a lot of legacy support over the more recent sets that have made him a pretty powerful aggro deck. He kind of didn't know what he wanted to do for a while. Now the support kind of tells him, okay, you're an aggro deck. So what does he do? When this card attacks a leader card, place 3 cards on top of your deck in your drop area. If all the cards are black, draw 1 card. This is a mono black deck. You could tech Furthering Destruction Champa, which I think is a pretty good budget alternative to one of the cards in the deck, but I'll talk about that when we get a little bit later in the deck profile. Awaken, when it lives 4 or less, untap 2 energy, switch them to active mode. The Awaken side, Wormhole, the only leader in the game that allows you to Overrealm or Dark Overrealm twice per turn. So you can like Overrealm twice, you could Dark Overrealm twice, or you can Overrealm and Dark Overrealm. That is what will fulfill the 2-time thing with Wormhole. When it attacks, draw a card, activate main once per turn, choose up 3 black cards in your warp and place them in your drop area. So that's how you refill your drop for your second Overrealm a lot of the times. You'll attack, get the mill on the unawakened side, awaken, you can Overrealm, and then you can use the activate main to put 3 back and then Overrealm again. Most of the Overrealms we play in the deck are Overrealm 3s, so the Overrealm 3 is pretty important for that reason. So the main engine of the deck, Demigra Demonic Overlord. For 2 energy, you burst 2, you take either 1 or 2 life, and then you get to search your deck or warp for a Gravy Lightning's Might and a Frigid Blast Poutine. Gravy Lightning's Might is just a 20k beat stick. That's pretty much all it is. But bringing it out from the deck with Demigra and bringing out Frigid Blast Poutine, which then searches you another Demigra of 4 costs or less, which, hey, Demigra Demonic Overlord is a Demigra of 4 or less. So you basically get to rinse and repeat this cycle, this engine, over and over and over again. It's really powerful in that respect. It's very consistent because in your opening hand, you typically want to see Demigra Demonic Overlord, but if you don't see that, you can settle for Frigid Blast Poutine because on your turn 1, especially if you go second, you can attack, mill 3, Dark Overrealm Poutine, search your Demigra for the next turn. That is a pretty powerful way to get your engine started. And then once you have that going, as long as you don't mill too many Poutines and Gravies, you basically have an endless supply of these things coming out of the deck from the Demonic Overlord. So really, really powerful, and it just works out really well in the deck. Next up, we've got our new Universe 3 engines. So these are the 16 cards we play in terms of like setting up combos. So you always want to see Demonic Overlord in your hand, and then if you can help it by turn 2, turn 3, you want 1 copy of all of these cards in your hand, which is why we're just maxing them all out at 4. It's pretty important that we do that. Some people decided to play the Anti-Laws 5-drop, and then there are a few other 5-drops you can play. You can play the Goku Xeno, you could play Dimensional Banisher Fu. I'm not a huge fan of playing that because if you play the Goku Xeno, it means you have to play the Goku Xeno 1-drop negate, and that's not gas. And what I mean by that is that's not very aggressive. That's what's going to allow you to kind of position to a bit more of a mid-range strategy. But I really, really think this deck is just a full gas aggro strategy at its finest with the way you can spam these cards. So going with the Turles, oh, and sorry, I'm not a huge fan of Dimensional Banisher Fu either. I'd probably side deck it, but I'm not a huge fan of it because it is an Overrealm that costs 1. So you want to do as many things in this deck as possible for 0 energy. Your maximum energy input is going to be your Demonic Overlord Demigra. The rest of it, you want it to be as close to 0 energy as possible. And pretty much everything in this deck besides Demonic Overlord is 0 energy. So Turles, Unstoppable Ghost Warrior, and Nagrishi from the Shadows. Now, the Nagrishi and the Viara, they are errata to say if it leaves the battle area or combo area in any way, they go to the bottom of your deck. So you can't just like combo it to the drop. You can't like do things like that. You have to either mill them with the leader effect or any other way you mill cards, or you have to pitch them off of either Turles or Bardock the Awakened Instincts. So what's really cool is on like turn 2, you can go activate Demonic Overlord. That's going to put 3 cards in your drop area itself, and then the burst 2. Then you're able to drop Turles, assuming you milled another 3-drop, which there are plenty in the deck, so pretty easy to do that. You play Turles, you have 1 card in your drop area, then you go for your leader attack, mill another 3, that puts 4 in your drop area. That allows you to Overrealm Bardock in that same turn. Then if you have the Nagrishi and the Viara, which luckily Bardock helps you dig for, your leader helps you dig for a little bit, if you get those cards, you're able to resolve all those effects in 1 turn, which is pretty nuts. You drop Turles, you drop Bardock, and you drop the Gravy Poutine, and you drop the VR and the Nagrishi after the Bardock and the Turles attack, because both cards put their respective counterparts in the drop area inherently. It's so insane. You just want to draw all these cards. That's why I'm maxing out for them. I'm not playing the Anilaza or the Banisher Fu. I didn't want to really like play 3s and 2-ofs because it makes the deck a lot more consistent. I just want to see these cards all the time, go for the really big aggressive pushes. Next up in the deck, this is the rest of our Overrealm package. We are playing the 4 Bardock Awakened Instincts, but next to that, we're playing SS3 Tag Team Trunks, Time Choice Supreme Kai of Time, and 1 Mirror Assault from the Skies. So the SS3 Tag Team Trunks is where I get the double strike in the deck, because you can warp a card from your hand, activate battle to give it double strike, and it has inherent critical when you play it with Overrealm. So I'll either use it as an early game crit when my opponent's playing a slower strategy like Piccolo or U7 Invoker, where they don't really take a lot of life early on. I'll use this to tear their life down, so I'm just not giving them a ton of cards for free. It's really good. Now, you could pretty easily take Tag Team Trunks out of the deck if it's not within your budget. You could go for a 1 to 2 of Furthering Instruction Champa. That could be a pretty good alternative to the Trunks itself, but if you were going to do that, I'd probably add a 4th Times Choice Supreme Kai of Time, maybe another Overrealm 3, and just go like with 1 Champa, because you don't want to mill the Champas, because then your leader's not going to draw cards. That's going to feel kind of bad, but you also do want to keep the Overrealm count at a relatively high number. The 1 Mirror Assault from the Skies, it's just such a powerful Overrealm. You're not always going to have Overrealm 7 because you're going to be constantly cycling your drop area out if the deck is doing what it's supposed to do. But having the 1 of in a situation where your opponent is just so low on resources, this is a huge 30k double striker. I wanted to have another way to end the game. This is kind of like my 1 of Furthering Instruction Champa without actually playing it. Yeah, it can get negated, but the idea is you're putting so much pressure on your opponent that you're not really giving them any space to breathe. You're forcing them to use negates early. You're forcing them to super combos early. So you get them in a position where they're tapped out to your double striker. They think they might be safe because they're not sure if you play Champa. Mira is going to go in there and pretty much get the job done for you. So I'm a big fan of this Overrealm split. You could play Time Regulator Trunks if you wanted to instead of pretty much any of these. But I like Time's Choice Supreme Kai of Time because it finds you specific cards instead of the Trunks that just draws 2s and warps 1. If the Trunks drew 2 and discarded 1, that would actually be a lot better, because then you'd be able to discard your Nagrishi. That'd be really helpful, but unfortunately that card does not do that, so we go with the 3 Times Choice Supreme Kai of Time for that reason. Next up, we have a few utility cards. We have 3 Dark Power Black Mass Sand. I used to play 4 of this, but I needed to conserve some space in the deck, so we're only playing 3. You don't really need to see it on turn 1, but against the decks that don't attack you, it is pretty good to try and mulligan for it, because you're able to almost awaken every turn 2 if you want to, at least if they attack you once. You get the 1 self-awaken with the dark Power Black Mass Sand, then you get the 2 life with the Demonic Demon Overlord Demigra. And if they've attacked you once, like U7 Invoker typically will, sometimes Piccolo will, to get some rival plays off, you'll be in good shape there. 3 Vegeta Time Regulator. This is a card in the deck I play. It's not pure gas, but it's a very small engine that allows us to transition into a bit of a mid-range deck if we need to. It's basically just there to help us keep up card advantage in the slower matchups that have really good defense against our aggro. And a lot of those decks are going to be Senzu Bean decks. Senzu Bean decks are very good against Demigra, because Demigra is a go wide strategy, and Senzu Bean is an anti-go wide card because it's a permanent 5k on their leader for the turn. And yeah, we have some stuff that's 20k power, we have some stuff that's 25k power, but you definitely are going to be halted by Senzu Bean for your 15k attackers, your leader swing, and then they're going to have to pitch less resources to defend once they're Senzu Beaned. So in those positions where we're really not able to push as hard as we want to sit on Vegeta Time Regulator. Now, I used to main deck the Demigra Power Booster engine, where you play the 4-drop Demigra Overrealm, you play the Temporal Darkness Demigra, which is a 7-drop that Xeno evolves, and the 4-drop Demigra, sorry I don't remember all the names, but the Demigra that when you attack, you warp a card out of your opponent's hand. I used to play that engine in the main deck before the VR and the Nagrishi came out. I took those out to make room for those cards. I would definitely recommend side decking those cards I just talked about if you want to transition Demigra into more of a mid-range strategy. It's a really good idea in my opinion, so do with that as you will. I would recommend that pretty heavily. But I do like the 3 regulator in the deck just for those times where we need to kind of pivot back to a bit of a mid-range strategy. 3 power burst, not 4 because we aren't super defensive. We just want to have 3 just when we need it. And then 2 super Kamehameha. It's great. You can use it off the life if your opponent topos you, if your opponent exploiting weaknesses you have an answer. I think Demigra needs to play 2 of this. It's very, very good. But guys, that's the deck profile. I want to know in the comments below what you think about it. Are you guys enjoying aggro this format? I think Gohan, I think Boo, and I think Demigra are all very powerful. So let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Thank you for watching. I will see you guys next time.